I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, in a neighborhood called Kennedy Heights. That's where I got my rap name from. Um, I just always had a passion for music, for real. I started, I want to say, about 11, 13 doing music and shit, but I really probably started probably a good year and a half ago, for real, taking it serious.
And you were born in Cincinnati as well?
Nah. My family, we actually Jamaican. We from Jamaica, so I was born there. I want to say around 4 or 5. I was there. Then I came Cincinnati and my family and shit. We migrated from New York to Cincinnati, so we came to New York first, and then we moved on to Cincinnati and shit. And that's why I went to Kennedy Heights.
And do you remember what age it was when you actually get to Cincinnati?
When I actually got to Cincinnati, I want to say I was for real back and forth from New York to Cincinnati, but when I actually was stationary in Cincinnati, it was about 10.
Okay. And where in Jamaica were you actually born? Do you know?
Kingston.
And do you know the reason why your family migrated to the United States, and why it was New York first and then why it was Cincinnati thereafter?
For real, most people don't realize, in Jamaica and shit, when you visit there, they take you to the tourist areas and everything. You don't see the real rough parts. So what people consider the hood here, it's different in Jamaica. That shit real rough. So, when we migrated and we came here to the States and everything, it was a way better life and shit. And we had family who already had went to New York first. So that was the first place they went, and then we kind of followed behind them.
And do you know what specifically in New York, what city?
For real, all I really heard in my family, they was talking about White Plains, Manhattan, all of that. But I was real young, so I ain't really remember exactly too many places where we was and shit. That was the two main places. I know my family, always said that was the first go-to before we came to Cincinnati.
Can you describe how rough it was in Jamaica?
Shit, you got people down there, they got it bad, no shoes, walking around, people homeless, a lot of the same shit that's here, but just worse, on a different level. You got motherfuckers that, clothes tearing off, but they still going throughout their day. Like I said, no shoes, working on a hot floor, and it's hot down there and shit. So, that shit is real rough. It's way worse than here.
Do you still have family in Jamaica?
Yeah, I got a lot of family in Jamaica. I go back and forth. I got a brother down there too, that I always go back and see.
Have you tried to get him to come to the United States?
Crazy shit is he was in the States, but he got deported, for drugs and shit. So, we were trying to get him back here, but you know how that go.
Now, what was that like growing up in Cincinnati during that time? After you were stationary, 10 years old, what was that like, if you can remember?
For real, it was, I don't remember too much. Because, when we came from New York and migrated to Cincinnati, I was still fairly young, but I remember, just going from house to house, trying to get used to it, trying to figure out, where we fit in, where we didn't. And, that's where we end up, choosing the Kennedy Heights area. That's where I got my rap name from, K Heights. So that's short for Kennedy Heights. And that's where I stayed. That's where I grew up. It's a rough neighborhood too. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't the roughest in Cincinnati, but that shit, you got your typical killings and shit there too.
You still reside in Cincinnati today?
Yeah.
When you talk about killings and things of that nature, were you, your family able to avoid stuff like that?
We was able to avoid it, but I got friends, close friends that even when I grew up with, at a young age, I got a friend, a close friend that's doing 57 years, and another one that's doing 80 and shit. So, it was no way to get away from it because you got your friends and shit that's involved in it. you know, your people that you know around the hood and shit that's in there in the same shit. So it ain't no way to really avoid it, but I mean, you know about it, you know the people that's around you who doing this shit, you know. So it's, I ain't get into it myself, you know what I'm saying, but I associate with the people.
Now, was there an opportunity to leave this description that you painted of killings and things of that nature? Was there an opportunity to move so you didn't have to face these type of things?
I mean,
A better part of Cincinnati, or maybe out of Cincinnati, where these type of statistics and these type of things weren't as frequent, where you wouldn't have to face.
I mean, there was opportunities to leave it, but that's some shit like you just don't do for real. Like where I'm from, like you gotta embrace that shit. Like it ain't, even if you leave and migrate to another area, like you still got your people that's there. Like you still gonna go back regardless. So it don't matter, you know, if you move out, if you leave, you know, I can move to a LA or something, but you know, I'm still gonna take trips. I'm still gonna come back regardless. You know, you got family there, you got friends there. You know, people opening businesses that you close with and shit there. So it ain't no getting away from the shit, you know what I'm saying, no matter where you go.